Thank you very much, and good morning to everyone. I'm really excited to have an opportunity to speak to you all today about some of the ways that I am extending the learning opportunities with the marketplace simulations by incorporating some additional industry projects and discussions, namely in the scope of sustainability. So, how I integrate environmental sustainability into the marketplace. Once I get my screen here we go. So first, just want to give a quick little introduction. I'll talk through some of the course details and how I'm integrating it into my specific class. Some of the learning objectives that I have set and will set for the students as we go forward. I'll talk about project and discussion outline, brainstorming some future integrations, as I started looking at different ways to extend sort of the learnings that they're having from the simulation, it really just started snowballing with all these kind of great brainstorm ideas. So throw out some of those brainstorms for all of you, and perhaps you can share maybe ways that you are integrating or some ideas that might get spurned from the discussion today. And then an assignment template that I have created as well that I'm willing to share with anyone who might want to integrate environmental sustainability into their simulation as well. So just a little bit about me. I worked in CRM and CE roles for Disney's marketing. I was with the company for a little over 20 years. And I really started feeling a strong urge to start learning and researching and pioneering sort of the future of marketing, moving beyond simply reacting to changes in consumer behavior and finding ways that we as marketers can really collaborate with consumers to start shaping the society that they aspire to see. So that is what drove me to get my doctoral degree and ultimately completely change my role. I am now the assistant professor of marketing at Gwynedd Mercy University, and this is a small school in Pennsylvania. And I am the marketing department. So I wear all the hats. I teach everything from principles of marketing to social media to digital marketing to CRM to integrated marketing communications. I am sort of the marketing department. And I tell you this because I want to share how I'm integrating it, what my classroom looks like, and what my teaching philosophy is, so that you're able to kind of take it and maybe adjust it to your school if it's a bigger program or more robust. Most of my classrooms, we have less than 25 students. And I do have a really big mix of all business majors that sit in my classes. So I have anything from finance to management to accounting, and of course, marketing majors within my courses as well. So the particular course that I use Marketplace in is my Principles of Marketing class. So this is your very typical intro to marketing course that your universities would have. And we use the Introduction to Marketing Bikes simulation. I am generally integrating this into the course about midway through the semester. So I wait until after we have covered customer journey mapping, customer personas, message targeting, value for the consumer, value for the firm, and how to really build relevancy with benefits. And this all began with a little discussion about the scorecard and the balance scorecard that is used within the simulation. And we talked about the scorecard having, profitability and customer satisfaction and market share. And if that was truly just a full comprehensive view of an organization and a firm. And it got us talking about incorporation of environmental sustainability and discussions with that in the simulation. So leaning into this, I started setting some learning objectives that I would want the students to gain from these conversations. And ideally, what I'm looking for is to deepen really their understanding of what marketing role is in, um, shaping the environmental impact of a firm. Again, I have a lot of different business majors in my classes. So really, how do we foster a sustainability mindset in all these future business leaders? And then the big one is connecting the simulation with some industry application. I had typically taught this very much in a silo. So they would do the simulation, they would have all these great learnings from it, and then I would sort of set it, put a bow, and then move on to our next topics. But we already have this great foundation that we have built. So how can we now take this into our other discussions that we are having, and how can we connect this into some additional industry application as well, and just sort of build on those learnings? So one way, and I think with any of this integration, you really could do it as small. It could be little discussions in the classroom, or as robust and big into projects that you would want to. One for me, it is again an intro to marketing class, and we have business students in all majors. Was how we could integrate sustainability into the 4 Ps as a discussion. So we looked at and we talked at product. And how do we introduce different bike frame materials with different environmental impacts? Discussions could include options for offering used or refurbished bikes alongside new models, or have your students research the environmental impact of different bike materials and what those life cycle assessments might look like when you're designing your product. Um, Price, talking about the concept of a green premium for bicycles manufactured, and how as this technology becomes more prevalent and more attainable, how maybe some of these green premium prices might come down. We talk, considerations. Do you give discounts on pre-owned or reconditioned bicycles? A fun one was our place, and looking at, how do you partner with eco-friendly retailers? This brought in a lot of discussion about their company value, their bike value, and their company value, and how do you make sure that you're aligning that with corporations that you're working with? We talked a little bit about influencer and how important it is that influencers share the values of your company, in what they're doing and promoting for your bike company. You could research sustainable transportation options in the area. Lots of great places you could integrate with place. And then, of course, promotion, integrating green marketing messages into their advertising campaigns. You could have them design and present eco-friendly marketing campaigns for their bikes. One of my classes, I had them, just spend a week or so every time they go into a store and just look at the different labels that are on products, and go up and down the aisles, and is that green label and leaf really um, the benefit that the company is proclaiming it to be. But lots of fun ways with promotion there as well from a discussion standpoint. Moving forward, I am going to make this a little bit more robust in my classroom, where I am going to have my students create a sustainability report. So this will be a larger project that we will do at the end, and create an overall marketing plan for their bike company. Again, I used to have them do sort of the simulation, and then we would do a marketing plan. Completely separate from one another, but combining these and having them create the sustainability report and marketing plan for the bike company that they have been working on. So we'll look at things like life cycle assessment of their bike model, strategies that they can use to reduce environmental impact on production, transportation, use, marketing plan, sustainability features. And one of my favorite discussions to have is, what would they have done differently if they had begun their bike and their building with environmental sustainability as their foundation? I think it's fantastic nowadays that a lot of corporations are concerned about the environment, and they are making changes to how they are producing and ways that they are delivering product and services. But it's after the fact, right? You've sort of created this foundation, and then you're adding these in later. But what would be different about your company had you started with that as priority one? And then another is talking sustainability metrics, and how these start integrating into firm priorities as well. Again, we're a very small school, so I don't have a traditional marketing analytics course that I teach. But I have marketing analytics within all of my different classes. We touch upon it. So from this standpoint, looking at carbon footprint reduction and recycled materials use, and how maybe we can start using these to refine some of the simulation outcomes as well. And like I said, as I started and we were having these discussions, it really just kind of turned on this floodgate of all these other great integrations that I was thinking of, topics that we discussed within the class that could be integrated into the simulation. So one was global marketing. We only spend probably about a week, maybe 2 courses on global marketing, but having them to, what market would they enter into based on that country's culture and their socioeconomic environment and government. Another was data and visualizations. I try in all of my courses to give them opportunity to really learn how to tell a story with their data. I think it's so important that they understand there is so much data, and how do you kind of pull out those really important pieces so that people can use them and continue. So maybe bringing in sort of a Tableau project with some of the data from the simulation. And then a great way to deepen market research as well. Like I said, we go over consumer personas and we create market research, and we really look at our target audience. So again, there's a project there or a discussion of how we can deepen market research for our consumers within the simulation. And then finally, this is the sustainability report assignment, and I'll send this over to Gary. I think they have a box that this can all be shared out. You're more than welcome to reach out to me as well. This is the one I kind of created. You can use it as like a jumping off board and whatever you might want to integrate in. But I kind of created it to have, a little bit of individual, where they'll do a life cycle assessment all individually, and look at, the environment of their chosen bike model, materials through its life cycle, look at extraction and manufacturing processes, transportation, product use, do some sustainability benchmarking, look at some of bike companies and see what they're doing, what industry best practices exist out there. Are there any, or are we going to be like trailblazing this for the bicycle industry? And then coming together as a team back into their marketplace and simulation team to develop a green marketing message for their company. Sustainable marketing tactics, taking it beyond messaging what we are doing from environmental sustainability, and really creating tactics with that in mind. So things like environmentally conscious retailers. Do we only sell at REI? Do we do a collaboration with Patagonia and have a great Patagonia bike? And then, highlighting some of those benefits of cycling as well. Of course, some metrics and measurements that we will look at, and then have them put together a sustainability report. This one, I'm kind of playing with what this report might look like. I think on one of the pages, I sort of had in parentheses an infographic. I am kind of, wanting to give them a little exposure to creating infographics. So maybe it might just be a fun infographic of how their sustainability for their company looks versus maybe a report out, but playing with ideas. And that might depend on the students that I have in the classroom and then just a grading rubric as well. And again, it's just an outline I'm willing to share with everyone just to kind of get the ideas flowing and start the conversation. All right. And then just any questions or great brainstorm ideas that you have as well.